introduce you to one of our local members. At just 11, he already had a head for enterprise, and he was selling stuff to, I believe, legal stuff, to his fellow pupils at school. At 16, he started his first business balloting cars, and shortly after that, he managed to get backing for Sir Tom Hunter and RBS to launch Orbit Enterprise Education. I'm sure, like me, you want to hear more about this story, so can I invite Kieran Aitken to the stage.
So, thank you very much for that warm introduction, and for the record that was legal in the playground. Thanks for that warm introduction, and it's great to be speaking here at what is one of the largest events in the business calendar this year. And for what is one of the first evenings, in fact, one of the first times I've ever seen Jerry Brennan without his trademarked tank top. So, it wasn't his dress code, so it's all good, it's all good. In fact, on the subject of clothing, I remember, I like talking to taxi drivers and things, and there's a taxi rank just outside my office, and as I was walking by there today, with this on, the taxi driver stopped me and he said to me, he did me a good Glaswegian compliment, and he said, "You're looking $1 million, son." And then he stopped and he looked at me closely. $1 million Zimbabwean dollars. So don't take yourself too seriously. I think that's the first and most important thing. But in all honesty, it's great to be speaking here. The FSB aim to have a positive impact on businesses. And therefore, when I was gathering my thoughts of what I'd speak about here tonight, I thought impact would be the best subject to talk about. So I'm not going to give you, 20 volumes of my autobiography, but what I would like to do is give you a little introduction to Orbit and to myself for those of you in the room that don't already know who we are. So to understand where Orbit came from, you need to rewind the clock by about 6 years to a time when my life was going in a pretty different direction. In fact, just a few years ago, my life was, more volatile than North Korea's foreign policy, and, you had to make some changes. 2011 was very formative, and I think this is where entrepreneurship comes from. The mentality that I built through the tough times in 2011 is the mentality that you take to the business world today. In fact, my phone wasn't ringing off the hook very much back in them days, and I was a long way off speaking at black tie dinners. In fact, a good portion of the people that I speak to today on a daily basis wouldn't have spared me a second glance back in those days. At 14 years old, overdosed on prescription pills, and I distinctly remember being wheeled up and down hospital corridors and going from scan to scan and from test to test and blood tests everywhere. Wasn't the best of my memories. I remember being entangled in tubes everywhere. I thought that it was finished before I had been given a chance to start. But it was this experience that something just clicked in my head, and I thought, I think I should be an entrepreneur. I think I should do this for myself. Something just clicked in my brain, and I decided I'd turn it around for myself. I decided that no one else was going to help me get out of the situation that I was in back then. You have to do it yourself. So that's what I did. I decided I was going to build something special from the ground up, and that's what the aim has always been from all the business ventures that I've been involved with since starting off. So I'm not afraid in the business world of suits, and I'm not afraid of telling people where I'm from. So I think it's important. I'm not from whatever area I come. I'm very honest about where I'm from, and I had a gritty past, but more importantly, I had a vision of where I wanted to go in life. So I rolled my sleeves up and I got to work. At 16 years old, I launched a car valeting business amongst other ventures, legal ventures, and we grew that business to have 5-figure profits and with a small team of staff within the first year. I'm from Paisley, yeah? I didn't have a network in business. I didn't know anyone. No one knew me, so I built a network from the ground up. I managed to hustle myself into meetings with Boyd Tunnett and Lord Hawkey, who had went on to become a massive support. And then in May 2015, I was given a chance in a very subtle form, which helped fuel Orbit to get to where we are today. I was sitting in the waiting room for a factory, and basically I heard a phone call go off between the receptionist, and I heard the name Sir Tom Hunter was mentioned during this phone call. And then to get to the basic of it, Sir Tom Hunter was due to visit this factory 2 days after I was there, at 12 o'clock on the 20th of May 2015. And I overheard all the details for this meeting of when he was going to visit the factory, so I thought, I'll go there and I'll see if I can see him. So I took a day off school that day, went to the factory, stood there for 3 hours. I saw Sir Tom drive into the factory. Well, to clarify, not into the actual building, into the car park. His driving isn't that bad. And as he was leaving, I ran up to him and I pitched the idea for Orbit to him in the middle of the car park. He seemed a little bit flustered, as you'd imagine, but I got a phone call that night, and Orbit was very much on the plan for growth and what we are today. So in a nutshell, founded 2 years ago when I was 17 years old and leaving high school, we're a social enterprise which is on a mission to mould the next generation to think bigger. Schools pay us a subscription fee, and we're on a monthly programme which provides some really comprehensive support for teenagers wanting to launch businesses. Key to the success of Orbit has been our realistic approach to business. We're not playing games. All these teenagers we work with are launching businesses, are paying tax and insurance, are having the whole lot, but they're also having the rewards that go along with that, and they're proving to themselves that they can do it, which is the most important part. As they build their businesses, we give them all the support they need, so they're at one-to-one mentoring from entrepreneurs, they get access to some of the biggest business figures in the country. We've got Jim McCall coming soon, and they do all this workshop content. We provide a lot of content. We've taken this model, we've applied it to Glasgow, and now we're branching out to Edinburgh and Manchester, due to start in early 2018. It's important to note that we're a limited company, we're not a charity. We've never taken a donation in our existence. It's very important to us that we're self-sustaining. We have staff, we have customers, an office, a board of directors, a revenue model, and like many other businesses, we've got a few friendly letters from the HMRC, but we're all good. And we've really built this from the ground up. That's been the key aim to it. We wanted to build a business which had profit with purpose, and both of them are very well aligned. So as a business, we have to make a profit to grow and sustain ourselves, and as a social enterprise, we must make an impact on the lives of people that we work with. And it's only in the past few months that I've realised, and this is the kind of core part that I think all of you can maybe take something away from this, that we've made a mistake in how we measure that impact. This is an overview of the last impact report that we've published last year. And as you can see, we measure everything in numbers. So there's numbers of application numbers, the amount of money they made last year. We talked more about the application numbers as opposed to the individuals behind those applications. We trumpet the fact that our participants have earned 5-figure incomes, but money is good, but it's not the be-all and end-all. It doesn't have any lasting value, and it can be lost in a heartbeat. So we had to think of something different to measure this impact. We like to get away from numbers and statistics. You can put 1,000 people through a program, and maybe only 40 of them can have genuine, life-changing transformations. So there had to be a different way of measuring impact, and I think we've found it. The real impact you have on people comes from stories of these people. You can't measure someone's life as a percentage. You can't measure someone's life as, on an impact report. You've got to look at the stories of these people and have them tell it through their own words and not through statistics. And that's what we've done, and that's what hopefully I can get across to you tonight. These are 3 people that are fantastic. These guys are all 16, 17 years old. We worked with them previously. On the far left, I'd like to kind of finish off with 3 stories that we've seen at Orbit, 3 people that we've worked with that have went on to develop fantastic stories, and there are very different definitions of what impact actually is. The first one is about Mark Keeney, the guy on the far left. And at Orbit, we have a no tracksuit rule. So on the first night of Orbit's 2016 programme, Mark comes in dressed with an Adidas tracksuit. So I thought, I like this guy already. He's breaking the rules. He's doing his own thing. Good guy. And when Mark shook my hand initially, it was like a cold piece of ham. There wasn't too much energy behind it. It's true, but it was true. There wasn't too much energy behind it. Very nice guy, mind you. Very nice guy. But he wasn't engaging too much. Very quiet. By the end of the programme, Mark was volunteering to pitch in front of the Business Minister, Paul Wheelhouse, and in front of Lord Haughey, in front of 70 people. Now, Mark didn't build, the biggest business in the world. He didn't want to make millions, not yet anyway. But to him, that doesn't matter. What matters is that he demanded more from himself. That's what real impact is. You can't measure that in numbers. Money, the amount of money he made, doesn't matter to him. It's the impact that he had from these changes of mentality. That's where the real impact came for him. And then there's Emma Tierns in the middle there. Emma went to John Paul Academy over in Maryhill and is now one of the most successful up-and-coming website developers in the country. She designs websites for clients at competitive rates and has a pretty extensive portfolio so far. Now, Emma always was confident, but she was looking for a platform that would allow her to take her ability and to take it to the masses. And that's where we came in. We helped to provide her with contacts and with different people that can help her out. The impact for her was the connections, the platform. That's what, you can't measure that in any numbers. And last, but certainly not least, was Josie, and I was with him yesterday. One of the most smartest entrepreneurs that I've ever met. Kicked out of school at 14, moved to another school at 15, and he said, I don't like school. He didn't like it at all, disgruntled by the whole thing. But he chose his own path, and he owns his own barber shop now. He doesn't own the shop, mind you. He rents out a chair in a barber salon, and he does barbering. He taught himself how to cut hair, and he went very big on Instagram. He's doing a lot of promotion on Instagram, and he's built this from the ground up. So by using social media to the max, he's got an unheard of client retention rate. He's got a good eye for getting people hyped up, for getting people excited, and he's doing it extremely well. And he's in one of the high-end barber shops over in Glasgow now. He wasn't disadvantaged for not doing well at school. He had a better advantage than most of us because from an early age, he found out where his strengths were, he found out who he was, and decided to act upon his own path, his own gut feeling. And that's what worked for Mark. And he cut my hair yesterday. That's what worked for Zosie. He cut my hair yesterday. He's done a very good job at it. So the model works. This is what we're planning on doing. We plan on taking this around the UK. I'm no fae wherever. I stay very true to my roots. I don't have to impress anyone. I'm from where I'm from, and that's the most important part. I am who I am. We are who we are, and we're going to take our story, our message, and apply it to everyone, and people can buy into it if they want to, of course. We all have stories, and the stories that you all have are better told from you, as opposed to statistics about you. That's the most important part. So it's time to get rid of corporate nonsense. I'm not a big fan of corporations at all. And remember that we're working with people. We're working with people, and not percentages. So thank you very much. Be sure to follow us on social media. I'm a big fan of social media following. Be sure to follow us, and I'll leave you with one final message: is that it doesn't matter, where you're from. I'm not one of these motivational speakers that gets paid for doing this stuff. I just say this, from the bottom of my heart, because it's true. It doesn't matter where you're from; it's where you're going that matters much more. So thank you very much.